Yo, yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Champions, where we talk about the different controversies, different events, and different rivalries and everything in between that center around this world we know and love as professional wrestling. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the Professor in the flesh, as always. And this man needs no introduction, but the hell with it. I'm gonna give y'all one anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is tag team partner Jonathan Randall, the adventurer, the life of the party, and welcome to this intense soap opera that we love called professional wrestling. And it's always a soap opera, especially with the lead up, the build up on the road to WrestleMania. Kurt, how you been?
Been doing well, bro. Just really enjoying this build up we've been having these last few weeks. And yes, you nailed it right on the head. This shit is a soap opera, and it's looking like The Rock wants to take Cody Rhodes to General Hospital with the way it's looking right now.
The General
Yes.
Hospital. Man, just General Hospital, ER, all of that.
And I guess from the way Cody described The Rock, I guess The Rock would best be called the old and the restless.
The old and restless. Man, they've been going back and forth with each other over the past couple of weeks. Ever since that slap on SmackDown.
Oh, yes, and it got very heated over these last few days, including this past Friday, as The Rock dropped another post on his Instagram, which is basically what he's been doing every week before SmackDown. And honestly, those Instagram posts are better than the stuff he does on TV. But this past week, it stood out a little bit more because we were in Memphis, Tennessee for SmackDown, and we were treated with a special edition of the Rock concerts.
Part 4.
Part four, and what made this even sweeter is that when The Rock came out for his entrance, his theme song switched from his theme song now to the Hollywood Rock theme. Yo, I fucks with
Loved
that.
it.
I fucks with that
Loved it.
heavy.
Finally, he changed his theme song. It suits him better. It's perfect for him since he's a heel. So that was a perfect way to do it. Loved it.
Yeah, it was mad dope. I like the lightning bolt that they have for the entrance now too. It really hooks it up big time.
Yeah.
And The
Oh,
Rock
yeah.
came out. He actually had his own band playing with him.
I know that. Right. Oh, man.
Yeah, but The Rock was going in on Cody, going in on Seth Rollins, going in on Cody's fan base. Yeah, I like that one line where he was talking about how, Dusty, I know what you feared. You tried to raise your son right, but he came out too weird. And then they show a picture of Stardust on the screen. Oh, shit.
Not
That was
cold.
hilarious.
Absolutely cold. Let's not forget. You know what? It was funny. You know, since they were Memphis, he even badmouthed John Morant of the Memphis
Yeah, he was
Grizzlies.
talking about Rollins and he was talking about, you're just an embarrassment, son. Just like John Morant when he's waving a gun. Holy shit, that was classic. That was perfect.
Dude, I'm telling you, heel work, man.
Yeah, and also talking about how singing and dancing is all you do. That's why your wife is more popular than you.
I want to ask you something.
What's up?
So, of all the 4 rock concerts he's done, like which one you think is the best? I have to. I still go with number 1 in this one. These are like top 2.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think the best ones were the one he did in Sacramento before WrestleMania 19, and also
Yeah,
this one this past
yeah,
week.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was crazy how they were in Memphis and they were chanting "Whoop that trick" during the concert. He's talking about Cody's fans. He says you're all just obnoxious and brash. The only time you have sex is when you pay up some cash. Damn, son. Damn,
I
son.
know. He just went in.
But the coldest shit was what he was saying to Cody's mom. He even called out Cody's mom in the promo earlier that day, and it was also like mocking the fact that Cody cried during that promo on Raw a few days earlier. He was like mocking him, making fun of him, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna finish my story. I want to hand it to my mom. I want to do something for my mom I couldn't do for my dad." Shut your mouth, yo. Yeah, he was definitely giving no fucks.
Nope.
The Rock was talking about how he's gonna take his belt and he's gonna beat the hell out of Cody with it. He's gonna whip him. He's gonna make him bleed. And then after he finishes doing that, and after Roman beats Cody again, he's hoping that Cody's mom is sitting on the front row so he could personally hand that belt to her and then say the words afterwards, Michelle, what can I say except you're welcome?
Yeah, he even dropped a line from the Disney movie Moana.
I didn't really catch that. I don't think I've seen that movie, so
Yeah, I should have sent it to you though. I'll if I find out, I'll send it to you though. But if anybody seen the movie Disney's Moana, which The Rock was in, by the way, everybody should know what I'm talking about. But yeah, he dropped a line from that movie. That was
oh,
just
I think
gold,
Becky
man.
I think Becky Lynch referenced that in a promo a few weeks ago, how she was talking about how she has to explain to her daughter why Seth Rollins' daddy, in that case, is so upset at the character, yeah, from that movie.
Oh wow.
That's funny.
It did.
Yo, but I gotta say, this is probably some of the best work The Rock's done since he's been back for this run. And also the fact that the Memphis crowd was so into it and more, behind him. Yeah, it definitely was a good part of the show. We did get some matches official for WrestleMania from SmackDown, and some of those matches do include Jimmy and Jey Uso. That is official. Jimmy has accepted Jey's challenge. Also, LA Knight officially challenged AJ Styles for WrestleMania, but as he was laying out the challenge, AJ attacked him from behind with a chair and officially accepted. So now we're getting that match at WrestleMania. And also, Nick Aldis officially made it for WrestleMania that the douchebag fuck Logan Paul will defend the United States title that he's held for 4 months and barely defended at all against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a three-way.
And a triple threat match. Interesting. And not the whole entire time I thought it was going to be just Logan Paul versus Randy Orton, especially after what happened in Elimination Chamber when Logan Paul costs Orton the match. But they made it a triple threat match. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and also like they never really finished the story between him and Kevin Owens from Royal Rumble. So it makes
Mhm.
sense to put Kevin Owens in the picture because I can't really see what else he would be doing besides this.
Right.
Yeah, but I like it. It should be a fun match. I don't know if he's gonna lose anymore. I thought like for sure he was gonna lose the title at Mania, but now with this triple threat stipulation, I'm not so sure.
We have to wait and see, man. I just, it bugs me, man, because I was really hoping they were going to do Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the title. You know what I mean? That's something I wish I would have seen.
Maybe we'll get that at SummerSlam now instead.
Maybe, yeah. And speaking of SummerSlam, they announced that SummerSlam will be in Cleveland.
Yes, I forgot to mention that last week. SummerSlam will be happening August 3rd in Cleveland, Ohio. Yes, for the first time since 1996.
Yeah. Not in arena, in the stadium, the stadium where the Cleveland Browns play at.
Good shit. Yeah, that's going to be dope. And I definitely guarantee this will be a whole lot better than SummerSlam 96 was. That is a fact. But yeah, back to that Rock concert. Yo, he bodied that. That's definitely his best work he's done so far since he's come back for this
Hmm.
run. And it would only continue to build from there on Monday on Raw when Cody Rhodes came out to cut a promo. And he basically talked about how The Rock calls himself everybody's favorite heel. But then he went on to say, Rock, you're not a heel, you're an asshole. And then he goes on to say, Rock, don't cry, don't get emotional and all that. Because you talked about me getting emotional, you made fun of me getting emotional. And it's funny that you've been crying behind the scenes this whole time. You were crying to the TKO executives, talking about how you need to save WrestleMania as if we need you to save WrestleMania. And then he goes on to say that The Rock is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling and that he's like the only person he could look from across the ring and say that about. But even with that aside, The Rock is a terrible salesman and he's also a whiny bitch.
Boy, I tell you what, when you look at that promo, I mean, a lot of people were saying this on social media, right? After what Cody said, he even mentioned the fact that The Rock has little dick syndrome, which is funny,
Yeah, you go
right?
because he was going on to talk about how once WrestleMania comes, the bell's gonna ring. And are you gonna be The Rock? Are you gonna be the People's Champ? Are you gonna be the man? Or are you gonna have LDS, Little Dick Syndrome? Yo, that was a cold
Right.
line because he's right. As great as The Rock has been with these promos, but when he gets in the ring at WrestleMania, that's where he's really going to have to prove himself. And that's where I think Cody and Seth can really embarrass him
Oh yeah.
if they want to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what I'm gonna ask you is that when you look at that promo, and everybody's been saying this, right? Do you think the PG era like has kind of like faded away because everybody's like it's not just that promo. You look at Seth's promo with Drew McIntyre. Seth was on him like you've been bitching and moaning since 2020 and all that stuff. Like they've been kind of been opening up, swearing on the mic now. You know what I mean? So like, have you think that's that rated? That I mean, not rating, but that era of that PG era, kind of like, oh, kind of faded away now.
I guess in a way it kind of feels like it, but if it officially has, I am not mad. This is far better than the guest host of Raw period. I'll take this over that any day.
Oh, please, God Almighty, don't get me started on that. I thank God I stopped watching wrestling at that time. Thank God,
Yeah, the more
man,
time goes by, the more I'm happy that piece of shit Vince is gone.
dude. I don't want to I don't want to keep going on with that, but I did
Fair
not like
enough.
that. But
Fair
yeah,
enough. Another line that Cody said that stood out to me was where he told Rock, "Don't think for 1 second that this locker room needs you more than you need us." And he has a point there. Like I said before, and I'll say again, their business the last year is the hottest it's been in years, and it's great to have The Rock back as a part of the fold. But even if he wasn't a part of the fold, they would still be fine without him.
yeah. Because remember, like I mean, originally, they were gonna do CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. And I think because of what happened to Punk, they had to like, okay, we gotta switch to Plan B and do this. You know what I mean? So
And I'm not complaining. That tag match is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. But I will say, like, one thing I've had an issue with that I'm happy they're kind of trying to fix now is the whole story between Cody and Roman. That's kind of been getting pushed to the side a little bit. But during Cody's promo, Heyman came out and interrupted, and him and Cody kind of went back and forth. And it was made official that Cody and Roman are going to have a face to face this Friday on SmackDown. And Heyman gave his word that nobody from the bloodline will be around for that face to face as long as Cody promised that he won't have any backup either.
that's good. That's good. And this is good just to finally have Roman stand on his own without The Rock. This is good because this has been like the issue for a while now. That we felt that Roman Reigns has kind of like taken a back seat in this whole storyline ever since The Rock has been in it. You know what I mean? Kind of like how Roman has been like the third wheel. So this is good that it's just going to be Roman just by himself.
Yeah, definitely. And even Cody said like in the promo that The Rock was Roman's bitch or Roman's sidekick. And pretty much ever since this whole thing started, it's been the complete opposite. Roman's been kind of the one who's been pushed to the side, even though he's the champion. And now with like them doing this
Mhm.
segment on Friday, it's bringing that focus back to the actual main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah. Because it's funny. We just been talking about the night one episode. Not episode night one main event. Sorry, getting myself sidetracked. Everybody's been too focused on the night one main event, right? But we need to really got to shift our focus on the night two main event. We have to. 'Cause I get it, man, because it's The Rock and you want to build it up. Trust me, I do though. But like, man, we kind of like it's kind of sad. We kind of like shifted away from the night two main event. You know what I mean? Because we got to forget that, like, regardless of what happens in night one, right? Whether if the Rock or Roman Reigns wins, or if Seth and Cody wins, regardless, Cody versus Roman Reigns is still going to happen in night two.
Yeah, and that also deserves attention. That also deserves
Yeah,
more of a build. And I'm happy they're going to be doing more with it on Friday on SmackDown. I'm looking forward to seeing what they pull off with it.
same here. Same here.
Yeah, definitely got to give attention to that. And also on Raw, we had a face to face between Jimmy and Jey Uso, where Jey Uso called out
Whoa.
Jimmy, and then Jimmy came through the crowd
Ooh.
with Solo Sokoa. And then Jay went on to tell Jimmy, yo, I know we don't hang out anymore. I know we're not, attached to the hip anymore, but I do miss you.
Hey, that's on. That's his brother. Come on, man. Anybody will be honest with that. I mean, come on. Despite of what's going on, that's your brother, man. That's your family. You gotta love him. You know what I mean? And like, look, I know we're not looking, eye to eye with each other though. But look, man, like I miss you. But at the same time, the disrespect has to stop. That's pretty much how he was laying it down. And I love that promo. Oh my god, that segment. Sorry.
Yeah, he was telling like Jimmy to come back, and Jimmy went on to say, "I never left," and he went on to say like it was your idea to leave the bloodline, and I did it with you just to support you. And then you went on to Raw, you went on to do your own thing, and you won the tag titles without me. You went on a team with Cody Rhodes, and then he went on to say like the biggest moments of your career happened because of me. And then Jay went on to respond saying, "The biggest moment of my career is going to happen at WrestleMania 40 when I beat the yeet out of your ass." And then goes on to attack Jimmy, knocks him down, and then he knocks down Solo. But then as he's knocking down Solo, Jimmy hits him with a super kick, and then they both double team him. But as they're double teaming him, he is saved by Cody Rhodes.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. When Jey Uso says that, man, oh my god, like you just feel that. I'm just telling you, that's how impactful of a single superstar that he is, man. Okay, loved it. And number two, this is the most important thing I want to say. WWE, or if you guys are listening, get on that phone, or you should have been done this. If you haven't done it already, do it now. Get on that phone and call Rikishi. Like, have him take some part of that match. If it's a referee or if it's at ringside, call him. Because I'm telling you right now, that will make that match so much bigger. And I'm telling you right now that I think that match will be night one, and to me that will be honestly to me that will be the best match of the night.
Very possible. I'm looking forward to this. They've been wanting to do this for years, and they're finally going to get their wish. I kind of feel like this match has the vibe of Ray and Dominic from last year, where they had the split, like, in the late summer, early fall, and then they kept them away from each other for a while. But now that it's WrestleMania, it's starting to heat up again and really get interesting. So, yeah, this is kind of the vibe I'm getting from that. But I do fucks with it. And yes, I do think Rikishi needs to be involved in some way.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
You have the whole family at ringside. Have like Jay's wife. Also, Naomi could be at ringside. The mom. Also, Solo Sikoa could sit like at the side, kind of similar to what Jim Neidhart did at SummerSlam '94 with that whole fiasco. Yeah, they could really do something good with this.
Man, I'm telling you right now, and man, again, it's every 15 years, man. There's a brother versus brother battle, and I love it.
Yes, and today is actually the 30-year anniversary of that very first brother versus brother battle
It
we saw at
is. It
WrestleMania,
is.
WrestleMania 10. I can't believe it.
I was just watching it earlier today, by the way.
My favorite WrestleMania from the '90s.
Okay, I think mine's is 6.
Interesting. Six I watched the other day. The only thing is six kind of drags in certain parts. It's like a lot of filler shit.
I need to watch 6 again.
Well, at least it's shorter now because they got rid of the Piper and Bad News Brown match.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is though. But yes, we have Jimmy and Jay happening at WrestleMania. Also, in the main event of Raw, we had a great match between Becky Lynch and Nia Jackson, last woman standing match. And yo, these girls beat the hell out of each other, bro.
Ooh,
Shit was
oh my
wild.
god, that man. Shoot, I understand that SmackDown was a bit lazy though, but Raw picked it up, man. Picked the ball up that night, especially with that match. Oh my god, my favorite spot. Becky Lynch does a leg drop from the ladder onto the table to Nia Jax. Holy crap!
That looked rough. And yeah, that was the way the match ended as Nia Jax could not answer the 10 count and Becky ended up winning, but damn, yo, they both killed it. But after the match was over, Rhea Ripley came out to confront Becky, stare her face to face, and hold the belt up as the show went off the air. And they haven't really done much with the two of them physically in the
Hmm.
build for the match, but the things that they have been doing with them with the promos and these kind of, scenarios, have still been dope regardless. This
True,
still made the story intriguing.
true, and I have to say, they've been doing a better job with their build-ups compared to the last couple of years, few years. You know what I mean? So,
For the women's matches, yes. For
um,
the women's matches.
yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, in all honesty, yeah, they've been doing a better job, and I know for a fact the match is going to be perfect. So,
Yes, and after Raw went off the air, also Becky gave a copy of her new book to a fan in the audience who was celebrating their birthday that day. It was actually the same book that she used to hit Nia Jax during the match. So I'm sure that's definitely gonna have sentimental value to that kid who got the book for damn sure.
oh wow,
And also Becky Lynch announced after Raw went off the air that she is officially an American citizen.
right? Congratulations.
I never knew she wasn't a citizen, but yeah, more power to her.
Yeah.
And Becky Lynch was also this past Sunday for St. Patrick's Day at the White House for a special brunch. And she also took a picture with President Biden. And there's now a copy of Becky's new book, Not Your Average Girl, sitting in the White House bookshelf. Yes, so Becky's new book comes out this coming Tuesday, March 26th. And I've seen some snippets in the book, including one picture of her and Seth Rollins standing in front of a mirror, pretty much naked. But Seth Rollins' dick is being covered with the Universal title, and Becky Lynch's upper body and lower body are covered with both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. Some weird ass shit, man.
It is.
Obviously, this picture was taken after WrestleMania 35 when they both won the titles and Becky won both titles. So, definitely interesting choice of a picture they took, but not mad at them.
Hmm.
And also a few snippets from the book and then coming out where Becky's like told specific stories about specific storylines. One of those stories was she did confirm that she pitched to lose the women's title to Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania 36, but Vince said no. This is before she even found out she was pregnant. This is even before all that. Because by that point, she had been the champion for almost a year or pretty much a year, and she could like kind of slowly feel the audience turn on her. So she pitched to have Shayna Baszler beat her at Mania, but Vince said no. She ends up retaining the title. Then a month later, she drops the title when she finds out she's pregnant. And poor Shayna Baszler, unfortunately, has not been the same since.
Damn. The thing is, we had high hopes on her, man.
Yeah, for her run in NXT, the way her run in NXT went, you knew she was gonna be a monster on the main roster. And it started out promising where she had that great performance in the Royal Rumble, and then she won the Elimination Chamber. That whole segment where she like bit Becky in the back of the neck and started having like blood from her mouth and all that was a little weird. But with that aside, it looked like she had
Yeah,
a shot at being something. And then once she lost that match, it just was never the same. Yeah, she never really recovered from that.
man.
But she will be wrestling at a GCW show for WrestleMania weekend. I'm not sure if you heard about that.
No, I did not hear about that.
Yeah, and I like this. It seems like WWE's like starting to play nicely with others more. And since Shayna Baszler isn't going to be doing anything probably at WrestleMania anyway, why not let her wrestle on that show?
In Philly, right?
Yeah, in Philly. And another snippet from the book that I saw today was Becky Lynch confirmed that it was Vince's idea for her to beat Bianca Belair in 26 seconds at that SummerSlam in 2021. And then afterwards, she saw Bianca backstage crying. Even though Bianca was happy for her, Bianca was still upset and kind of felt like all of her momentum and all the hard work that she had been putting in had been pretty much shattered from that moment. And then Becky promised her that she was going to make it right with her, which she ultimately did the following year at WrestleMania, which I've maintained was the perfect payoff for that storyline, even though we didn't like how it started at first. But yeah, that night when it happened, yeah, that night when Becky just beat her like that out of nowhere, yeah, it was weird.
It was crazy, and remember I was there that night, so um,
That's right, you were there that night.
I mean, I get it. It was a weird way to do it, but they had that huge payoff at WrestleMania, months later. So
Yeah,
yeah,
ultimately it worked out. But yeah, that night having Bianca lose that way, yeah, it could have very easily gone in a Shayna Baszler direction for Bianca after that. But luckily, she was able to bounce back and it all worked out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this book from like some of these little snippets. I wonder if she'll get into her issues with Charlotte in the book too.
just real quick, like speaking of wrestling books, right? I forgot to tell you this. I purchased it about a few months ago, right? You need to read toys, merchandise, wrestling merchandises from the 1990s. It's a interesting read.
Okay, I'll look out for it.
Yeah, I got it on Amazon. It's a very interesting. Kurt, I truly believe you will love this book. They really go into detail about all the merchandises, toys, all that stuff that came out during the 90s.
That's what's up. Yeah, so Becky's book is getting a lot of hype. It comes out this Tuesday. I'm definitely going to be checking out for it. And from the way it's looking out with her book coming out and the fact that you just met the president and all that, I feel like she's probably going to win at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we were both speculating, like we don't know what's going to happen. Again, we still don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But I just want to see a good match. The thing that I'm looking forward to the most is the fan reaction. Like is going to be 50-50 or not. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, that crowd reaction for both of them is definitely going to be some shit to watch. And also at WrestleMania, we have other matches on the show, including Gunther defending the Intercontinental title against Sami Zayn. And this past Monday on Raw, they did have a contract signing. But backstage during Raw, there was a few confrontations between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, where basically like Sami Zayn was trying to talk to Chad Gable about the match the week before, like trying to tell him like, "Yo, you did great. It just wasn't your night or whatever."
Ooh.
But then Chad Gable eventually said, "The reason why I'm so upset is because I know you can't beat Gunther."
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Pretty much saying that, look, I know you can't beat him, but I know I could beat him. Bro, they need to insert Chad Gable. And I said this last week, didn't I?
Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to at this point.
But you see what they're doing though. Which I know, but you see what they're doing though, right? They didn't have to, do that backstage segment if they're not gonna follow through with this. You know what I mean? Like for him to think about it, you're gonna do that segment, and then Chad Gable makes the comment. It's the comment what really kind of like foreshadows it a little bit for me. You know what I mean? It's like you got so much time left before Mania, right? Chad Gable obviously is still bitter about that loss, but yet you're gonna say that I know you can't beat Gunther. Man, that's a lot, Kurt. Like you put two together, I wouldn't be surprised if they insert him in that match, if they put Chad Gable in that match, man.
I don't see it happening at this point, especially after they did the contract signing on Raw. I figured if he was going to get implemented into the match, he would have maybe shown up during the contract signing and maybe laid out Sami Zayn and signed the contract himself.
Oh
When
yeah.
that didn't happen, I'm like, all right, it's official. It's going to be Sami and Gunther, which I'm fine with. I'm not mad at, but yeah, the way they're like kind of having Chad Gable still a part of it is a little strange.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And according to Booker T, Sami Zayn was kind of upset about like the negative reaction to him winning that match last week.
Oh.
He kind of thought like the fans were like turning on him, and he was kind of like, "Yo, I thought the fans liked me. I thought the fans were into me. What's up with this?"
Well, I mean, they've been like all over, Chad Gable for a while, man. Especially, that match that he had with Gunther on Raw, and that doing it. I want to do it for the daughter. The fans rallied behind that. You know what I mean? And you got to remember, Sami Zayn's been gone for a while. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I know. I'm not telling him how he's supposed to feel. I mean, anybody will feel some type of way, but I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, for Sami Zayn's sake, I hope he knows that it's not personal against him. It's just that that story was like more intriguing with Chad Gable in it.
Mm,
But they decided to go in this direction. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm not mad at it, but it would have been nice if they did put Chad Gable in that spot.
yeah, I mean, we even said this months ago. We said this months ago about how like if they could do that, but surprisingly they didn't.
Not for whatever reason they did not, but we'll see what happens with the story in the next few weeks. Also, we have some qualifiers for the six-way ladder match for the tag titles for WrestleMania.
Good
And
lord.
those qualifiers include the New Day, DIY, and also Miz and R-Truth.
Oh God, Ooh, so much in here, man. Still got two teams.
And I think Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne and probably the Street Profits will get the last two spots, if I had to take a guess.
Oh my god, it's a lot.
But yeah, that's gonna be a lot,
Jesus
bro. That's
Christ.
gonna be a lot. 6 teams in a ladder match. What the fuck?
Good God.
I remember the last Money in the Bank they had at WrestleMania, the one in 2010. It was like 10
Yeah.
guys.
God, that was a lot. I remember when I saw that, it was becoming like a little bit overkill, and then after that, they made it into a pay per view. But yeah, man, that's a lot.
Also, I remember not liking that Money in the Bank match that much.
No, no,
So we have this
yeah.
six-way ladder match happening at WrestleMania. It seems like they're probably gonna do maybe Dominic against Andrade, the way it's been looking the last few weeks.
Hmm.
I mean, what else is Dominic gonna do this year? It doesn't look like there's like yeah really anything else for him.
No. I mean, except being in Rhea Ripley's corner.
I kind of had a feeling whatever he ended up doing this year was going to be a step down from last year's because, yeah, that storyline he had with his dad going into the show last year is hard to top.
Oh yeah.
His wedding looked like fun, though, from the pictures I saw.
Oh yeah. I saw those pictures. Congratulations again to him to get married. But I mean, it's a bit. Look, it is an unfair situation for him because you got to remember they were supposed to do Dominic versus Brock Lesnar at Elimination Chamber, and if that were to still happen, right, there's no telling what would have happened after that.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Sucks.
Him and Andrade should still be fun. I'll see what they, pull out from that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Charlotte's real husband and Rhea Ripley's on-screen boyfriend are going against each other at WrestleMania. Ain't that some shit? After they went against each other last year.
I know. Right. You know what? There's something I need to tell you that I found out last week. Should have mentioned in last week's episode, but I read a report that the WWE are looking in a way to try to bring Brock Lesnar back.
I was hearing about that. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, strange, man.
If he comes back maybe the day after WrestleMania, that's the only thing I can really think of.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, what the hell are you gonna do with him now? Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Can't do nothing. But yeah, regardless, so that's just weird, man. It's like after what's been going on, and that's like okay, you know.
I don't know. Maybe they investigated enough of his part in it, and maybe they didn't find much. So who knows? And it's crazy. The other day was the anniversary of his debut. 22 years.
I was just watching an episode about a couple weeks ago, by the way.
Yeah, right after WrestleMania in Montreal. Yeah, that was a memorable night from Brock's debut and also the ovation
Hmm.
Hogan got. Yeah, it was a crazy night.
Yeah. Yep.
And like we said, the other matches in Mania also include the LA Knight and AJ Styles match, the triple threat for the US title, Gunther and Sami Zayn, also LA Knight and AJ Styles, the tag match for night one, also Roman and Cody, Seth and Drew McIntyre. And also, speaking of that match, there was a video for CM Punk that dropped this Monday on Raw, and CM Punk confirmed that he will be at WrestleMania this year because
Yes.
because you can't spell Philadelphia without Phil.
Right, Phil Brooks, baby. That's right. This is not a surprise to me. Okay, I knew CM Punk would have a part of WrestleMania, but what role will he play? That's the thing. Will he be a special guest? Like a commentator during the Seth and Drew's match? Will he just show up in general? We'll never know. But all I'm saying is this. I tweeted this yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, two things is going to happen. Either Drew McIntyre is going to lose the title because CM Punk's involvement, and then Damian Priest cashes in, or Drew wins the title, but CM Punk knocks him out after, and then Damian Priest cashes in. Bottom line, regardless of what happens, I'm calling it right now. I could go to the casino right now and bet on it if I want. CM Punk is going to ruin Drew McIntyre's WrestleMania moment.
It could happen. It very easily could happen.
Did you see Drew McIntyre's shirt he wore last week or this past
Of
Monday?
course I did.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Why am I surprised? I'm su-
Yeah, the back of the shirt. Yeah, the back of the shirt has check marks behind everything he's accomplished. It has a check mark besides putting out CM Punk, a check mark besides winning the Elimination Chamber, and now it's still waiting for check marks besides beating Seth for the title at WrestleMania and also becoming a legend.
yeah. Okay, we'll see about that. But just remember my guarantee.
We'll probably find out what Punk is going to be doing at WrestleMania on Raw Monday because he will be
Yeah.
at Raw Monday in Chicago. I made a mistake. I thought the Go Home Raw on April 1st is going to be in Chicago, but no, it is going to be this coming Monday, the 25th of March. That'll be in Chicago.
Right. Okay, I see what you mean. And speaking of CM Punk, I don't know if you heard about this, Kurt. So apparently, recently, I think it was last week on NXT, right? Apparently, CM Punk and Booker T got into an altercation with each other, as reported.
From the way I was described, I don't think it was anything serious. It seemed like it was probably something small and like not really a big deal because I haven't really heard much about it since. And so this, in a way, kind of reminds me of that situation a few years ago where Booker T was making it seem as if him and Corey Graves had problems and him and Corey Graves were
Oh,
beefing. But in reality, they were just messing with people. They were just messing with people online to see how they would react. But they really are friends and they really hang out all the time. So like the reason why they did that is because sometimes when they're at the arena all day and they're sitting around all day waiting for their stuff to do, they're bored and they don't have anything to do. So they just did that as a way to entertain themselves.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I remember this funny ass picture online they shared of like Booker T like confronting Corey Graves and grabbing him like as if he was gonna beat him up. Yo, that shit had me dying. So yeah, the vibe I got from that is that like he's probably just saying that as like a way to kind of like see how people would react. Because if it were really a confrontation, like a real legit confrontation, like the ones Punk had in AEW, I feel like there would have been a lot more to it.
True, true. When I heard the story, I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, dude, come on. Oh, man. But I mean, hearing it from you, I feel a little bit more better. So,
Yeah, so we'll have that on Monday on Raw with Punk being back. There's probably going to be at least four more matches added, like probably the Andrade and Dominic match. Also, Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar is probably going to be added to the show. I see that happening.
mhm. Yeah.
Maybe like a multi women's match. I could see them adding that to the show with like Liv Morgan, Nia Jackson, a few of the other girls. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with Bianca and Naomi and like the damage control thing for WrestleMania. I'm not sure if they're gonna do a tag title match or a 6-woman tag, but it's looking like now they might have to do a tag title match with a replacement for Asuka because it came out that Asuka was injured this past Friday on SmackDown. She hurt her knee, and since then she's been taken off the roads, and her status for WrestleMania is uncertain.
Man. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
If she ends up missing WrestleMania, maybe they could have Dakota Kai take her place and have like Dakota Kai and Kyrie Zane go against Bianca and Naomi for the tag titles. I don't know where Jade fits in all this. I don't know what they're gonna do with her. But
Mm,
yeah, I could see it going any of those ways. Or if Asuka can make it for WrestleMania, they could do a 6-woman tag. Yeah, either of those scenarios I could see happening.
okay.
And obviously, yes, we have also Bailey and Io for the women's title. Bailey hasn't really been getting a lot of the respect she deserves for being somebody who won the Royal Rumble, though. I will say that much.
Respect in what way?
Like not being at the press conference for WrestleMania in Vegas last month and having Bianca be there instead and not putting her like on the promotional posters and things like that. Yeah, that's not cool.
That's not, yeah, yeah, you're right, man. You're right. That is, I get it. You have certain women that are, popular and all that stuff, have the limelight and all that. But you got to remember, like, for the first time, Bianca is not in the title picture. Bailey is. Who do you pick to win the women's Royal Rumble? Bailey. So, let her shine a little bit in the moment of what's going on. She's in a title match, main event spot at WrestleMania. You got to give her that.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see what they do with this story in the next few weeks. Also, we had an announcement for the newest inductee into this year's WWE Hall of Fame, and that new inductee will be Thunderbolt Patterson. This guy was before our time. He was from the territory days, from back in those days. And he was kind of one of those black wrestlers who didn't really get the opportunities he deserved or maybe could have gotten because of obviously the racism that went on in wrestling at the time. But I'm looking forward to seeing him get inducted and, like, getting to learn more about him during Hall of Fame time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. There's been, every year there's always been that guy like, I never heard of this, heard of this guy. You know what I mean? There's always a somebody, especially for the territorial days. You know what I mean? I'm just so, man, I'm interested how things were back then, man. You know what I mean? Just so many territories back in the day. You know what I mean? That's crazy how things were different back then. But it will be interesting to hear about his story. When he does his, gives out his speech.
But from what it's looking like now, it's not looking like Bray Wyatt's going to be going into the Hall of Fame this year because on April 1st, the Monday before WrestleMania, a documentary for him on Peacock will be dropping. It's going to be called Becoming Immortal.
Yeah, and I heard the Undertaker is narrating it.
Yes, The Undertaker's narrating it. They're going to have a bunch of people on it they're going to talk to, from like Seth Rollins, also JoJo. I saw a brief clip of them talking to JoJo. Also, Alexa Bliss, obviously. Yes, Undertaker will be narrating it.
That's good.
John Cena, I think I saw in there too. Yeah, everybody pretty much he's worked with over the years, and also Eric Rowan, Corey Graves. Yeah, the list goes on and on. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this documentary comes out, and I feel like this would probably be a better look than putting him in the Hall of Fame this year because it is kind of soon. Admittedly, like he just died 7 months ago, and yeah, this documentary I think would be a better tribute to him at least for now.
I'll make sure I get to watch that, man. But that is good for him that they're doing a documentary on him.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be some very compelling stuff, and I think it'll probably be one of the better ones they've done in a long time.
Yeah.
I really like the one they did about Cody, the one they did about Cody last summer. I think this one could be just as
Mm,
good as that one, if not better.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking out for that April 1st. But let's get into some AEW news real fast. As this past Wednesday on Dynamite, what we predicted happened, as it is official, Mercedes Mone is all elite.
Yes, we were right. You were right the whole entire time. You knew something was up. I'm not surprised though. But hey, it
Bro,
happened.
it
So
was the worst kept secret in wrestling. Everybody and their mother knew what was going to happen.
yeah, the worst kept secret. Yeah, the worst kept secret in wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was too obvious. It was too obvious, man. So
yeah, like I told you, it was the same situation with Punk from a couple years ago where they announced the show that night in Chicago. Although they didn't promote the fact that he was going to be on it, you could definitely tell he was going to be on it. And lo and behold, he was on it. Exact same situation with
yeah,
Mercedes. And the show started with them going backstage and a Mercedes rolling into the arena, but you didn't see who came out of the Mercedes. And all of a sudden, you hear this theme music hit, and the letters Mercedes Mone come up on the screen. And Mercedes Mone comes out for her very first appearance in AEW. And in her song, they have the letter CEO, and that's what the fans were chanting throughout it. So now that's going to be her new nickname as opposed to being the boss like she was in WWE. Now she's going to be called CEO. And yo, this is mad marketable. It like
Hmm.
really clicks with the theme song. People can like chant along with it and sing
Yeah,
along with it. So yeah, this is definitely a good marketing ploy. I fucks with that.
very creative. Very creative. I like it.
And she had a dope outfit like she usually does. And she got a nice ovation. She was very overwhelmed by it. And yeah, she's basically said she was there to take over and she was definitely there to make women's wrestling global.
Hey, let's hope this works, man, because we've been critical of the women's division AEW. So let's hope that this all works out.
Yes, and apparently she signed on for 5 years and for $10 million,
Woo!
which, if that's the case, that makes her the highest paid female wrestler in professional wrestling history.
Wow. Wow.
So it looks like she made the right choice by going to AEW because of the fact that if AEW was willing to pay her that much money, then fuck it, why not take it?
Yeah. Yep. This is kind of the same thing with professional sports. You know what I mean? you have a team that's going to offer you more money and it looks attractable. The team looks right. Like, you know what? The money's good too. I'll go.
Yeah, and she's definitely a huge boost for that women's division. Although they have great talent already, she is definitely a huge boost for that division.
She is.
I feel like Mercedes now fills the void of Jade Cargill not being there anymore.
True. And again, you're right. She does fill the void of it, but you got to remember that the women's division is a little bit, again, we've been critical of it, where it's kind of like off and on at times. So having her there will help out.
Yeah, she's made a ton of history from being in the first women's match to main event a pay-per-view, which is actually in that same arena that they were in Boston, TD Garden, the match with Charlotte and Hell in a Cell. Also being one of two of the first black women to main event WrestleMania, being the first entrant and the first ever women's Royal Rumble, and being a part of the first women's tag team champions with Bayley. Yeah, she checked off a lot of boxes. She made a lot of history. And it just bothers me sometimes when people say that she's overrated, she's not that talented, she sucks.
Bullcrap. If you're in a main event, if you're one of the first black females to main event at WrestleMania, that says a lot. So I don't want to hear that. And the fact that you're like one of the first, the women of NXT to really, to hit the mark, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the goats of women's wrestling, period. I don't know what she's like in real life. I don't know if like people have met her in real life and she was unpleasant and she wasn't nice or whatever. Like those are fair reasons not to like her. But to say that she's overrated and not talented, that shit is not accurate.
Well, I haven't heard anything bad from her, not compared to J-Lo, to Jennifer Lopez.
I've heard some mixed things about her. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard mixed things about Mercedes in person over the years. It goes back to 2016 when there were like a lot of stories about her not being fan friendly, and then the following year in 2017, those rumors got like even more spread out. And she even had to talk about it herself. She even had to speak on it herself, where she said that it's not that I don't like, fans. It's not that I don't like signing autographs. It's just the fact that sometimes they come at you in an appropriate time, and sometimes they look up your flight information and all that to try to meet you. And in that regard, she has the right to, be standoffish if they're doing that kind of shit. And also some of the things Corey Graves would say about her on commentary, even when she was a babyface, seemed kind of weird, like, calling her an egomaniac, calling her an asshole, calling her unpleasant, and all these other things. But the only thing is, I never really heard of any of the other girls having issues with her. Like,
No.
the way people had issues with Shawn back in the day and also had issues with CM Punk and all that jazz. I never really heard of the other girls having beef with her with the exception of Alexa Bliss.
No, I've heard no. That's the thing. I haven't heard any thing bad about her when it comes to the other women wrestlers that she works with. I haven't heard anything, at least that I know of.
And look, I never met her personally. I can't say from that perspective. But with that shit aside, like with that all aside, from a talent perspective and a marketability perspective, she is the whole package. She is the whole package in that regard.
No doubt about that.
And having her part of AEW's women's division is a huge plus. I just keep my fingers crossed that it works out and that it's a success and that the women's division in AEW gets a lot more love, a lot more attention, and a lot more respect than it did previously.
Thank you. I agree. Let's hope this all works. I believe it will. Let's hope.
But apparently, some of the women backstage, according to Dave Meltzer, take that with a grain of salt, are not happy with the fact that she's getting so much money. And also, they were rubbed the wrong way by some of the comments she made in that interview a few weeks ago about how she said she will eventually be back in WWE one day. Because it's kind of a weird thing to say when you just sign with one company that you're saying that you're going to be back in the other company eventually.
For 5 years. For 5 years. Man, that's like you didn't hear LeBron say when he signed with the Miami Heat and be like, he signs with the Miami Heat and like, you know what, eventually I'm going to go back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, which he did though, you know what I mean? But it's still,
yeah, it's a weird.
You're Pat Riley. You're kind of like, wait a minute now. I just signed you to a contract now. Are you talking about eventually you'll go back to Cleveland? Wait a minute now.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say, but whatever. She still said it.
Yeah.
But yeah, now she's a part of that women's division. That CEO thing is super marketable. And actually, her new theme song is like one of the top 5 songs on the Billboard charts right now.
Are you serious?
I'm dead ass. Yeah, it's like in the top 5 right now on the
Wow,
Billboard.
that's cool.
Yo, she does make a difference. Although the ratings were kind of disappointing for her debut last week, the ratings didn't do what they thought they would do. Regardless, having her a part of the show and having her a part of the company is a huge plus. That show last week in Boston did a lot more ticket wise than would have done otherwise. So definitely she made a difference in that regard. But yeah, people were
Hmm.
talking shit about how the ratings were disappointing and how like, oh yeah, we told you she's not a big difference. We told you she's not anything special. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Even if you don't like her personally, even if she's not your favorite or whatever, you can't deny her talent. You cannot deny what she brings to the table because she is definitely somebody who stands out from the look, the ring skills, the outfits, all that jazz. She's definitely somebody who is tailor made for professional wrestling.
Exactly. Why do you think? Come on. Why do you think they put her in the main event at WrestleMania of 3 years ago?
And the thing I do like and respect about her is that she's a genuine fan of wrestling. From the Japan stuff, the Mexico stuff, whichever style it is, she's like a legit fan. Like she legit loves this shit. She doesn't just do it to be famous. She doesn't just do it to be on the red carpet, although those are nice perks. Like she genuinely loves and has a passion for this shit.
Hmm.
And also in interviews after the debut, she even opened up and said that her ankle injury from last year was a lot worse than people thought it was.
From last year.
Yeah, she hasn't wrestled in almost a year since her match in Japan with Willow Nightingale, which she actually ended up losing on the fly because she knew she got hurt. But apparently she was told by the doctors that she would never wrestle again.
Man.
But yeah, props to her for overcoming that and for making this big return. And I'm looking forward to seeing what her first match is gonna be. Or feud.
Yeah. I mean that's what everybody's looking forward to, man. Let's hope this all works out and really pushes the division. So
Just hope it pays off. I'm just sincerely hoping that it pays off. But although AEW has gained Mercedes Mone this year, they will be losing Jim Ross as an announcer, as Jim Ross recently revealed that this will be his last year at the announcing booth.
yeah, man. It happens to everybody. There's a certain time when you got to call it quits, and you got to remember his health also plays a big part of it as well. Like he's been back and forth with chemo over the past couple of years now. You know what I mean? And you're getting older, and sad to say, you gotta step down. There's a time when you got to step down, and it's that time. And I wish nothing but the best for him. He is one of my, not just in wrestling, but just commentating. Period. He's like top 3 of my favorite commentators.
Yeah, in my
So
opinion, he's the GOAT. Although he would say
yes,
Gordon Soley's the GOAT. In my opinion, from the 30 years I've been watching wrestling, there's been no announcer better and on point with his shit than Jim Ross. Nobody.
yeah, and it's funny. It's funny. Like throughout the years that I've grown up, in my dialogue when I'm talking just normally with friends, there are certain words in dialogue that I've used because I've listened to him.
Me too. I've learned so many
So
different words from him.
yeah, like if I'm like see something shocking, right? You know what I mean? Or if I hear like if I'm just having like a random conversation with a friend, right? And they tell me something shocking or weird or whatever, I'll say God Almighty or something like that. You know what
Yes, yes, you will. Yes, you
I
will.
mean? Seriously. It's crazy, man. That just shows you how much of an impact that someone will have on you. Especially you've been listening to this guy for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. The things about Jim Ross that would stand out the most is like when somebody like Triple H would like do something evil and do something dastardly, and just his response and the way he would react to it was priceless. He'd just
Yeah.
be like, "You son of a bitch, you evil son of a bitch, I hope you burn in hell. You should be ashamed of yourself. Your mother should have had an abortion." Yo, he'd be wilding out. He'd be wilding out, but it was great. Yo, you just added so much to the story because, like, yeah, because when somebody does something that evil and that sadistic, you have to sell it as like the most despicable act in the world. And yo, he was the master at that.
Yeah. he just made everything just so authentic and real. He made you feel what he wants to make you feel what he's feeling. That's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? And um, he just made the match so like intense and so just draws you in. Just it's more than it became so special. You know what I mean? It's just very authentic. Like when you're watching the match, you're not just watching the match. You're hearing his voice, and you're just like, oh my god, it was just two and two. Just it just meshed in together. You know?
And that's one thing I learned from him and also other announcers and just people on air in general is that if they're not excited about it, you can't expect the audience to get excited about it. And that's
Right.
kind of a mentality I've taken with me with all my podcasts is to make whatever I'm talking about and whatever I'm discussing as interesting and as compelling as possible. And one of the people I learned
Mm-hmm.
that from was Jim Ross.
Mm.
Yeah, legend in this industry, also a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. And I'm happy that he's going out on his own terms.
Yes.
Yeah, so shout out to him. And apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, take also that with a grain of salt. Tony Khan is still mad at Jack Perry for what happened with CM Punk at All In back in August. And for that reason, that's why he still hasn't been brought back to AEW television.
What? Still?
Yeah, look, I don't condone what Jack Perry did to provoke Punk. He definitely bears responsibility in that regard. But yo, that shit happened 7 months ago already. You can't punish him for that long.
Dude, move on. Punk moved on. Come on.
Yeah, so apparently Tony Khan is like still holding a grudge over that. And yeah, that's why we haven't seen Jack Perry back yet.
Well, damn.
And it's so crazy. Jack Perry had like just turned heel like right before that and had like like a new character and he was switching things up. And then all that shit happened literally right after. And yeah, we haven't seen him since.
Yeah, because I was wondering what happened to him, man. And, he was doing well with it. And this happens. And just, come on. I got to put your bitterness to the side, man. Come on.
Yeah, like I said, he was wrong for doing what he did, but also Punk was wrong for the way that he responded.
Both were in the wrong. Bottom line, both in the wrong. Punk moved on, and bro, Tony Khan moved on, man. You need to move on, and it also this backfires on him because, dude, you're the boss. You need to lay down the law a little bit. And me and you both, Kurt, were critical on his stance as a boss. Like you need to sometimes you need to show some tough love sometimes, and he didn't do a good job in certain situations. So this falls on him too, man. So
Yeah, definitely. Even if you're gonna bring him back and maybe have him lose for a while and all that, that's one thing. But just to not have him on TV at all for what 7 months now, yeah, it's a little sketchy.
yeah, Jesus. I mean, come on. Vince wouldn't do anything like. I mean, come on, Vince. I don't see Vince would do something like that. I mean, come on. Probably you'd like
Ah,
fine him or something like that, but not like, no, I'm not gonna have you on
yeah.
TV for so many months. Like, Jesus Christ, you might as well just fire the guy,
I think at this
right?
point we can't put anything past Vince. I think at this point, from all the things we've heard,
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about the personal stuff. I'm talking about on a
no, even
business when it
that
comes to
too,
business
even that too,
decisions.
even that too, he can even with that shit too, he could be very petty.
I know, but like, I mean, can we? I don't recall where he punished somebody and had him off of TV for so many months. I'm wondering, is Jack Perry like still getting paid? Is this without pay or is he still getting paid?
I believe he is getting paid. We've heard about people all the time in WWE who weren't getting used for months, who weren't getting put on TV for months for whatever reason.
Yeah, I know, but uh,
Vince McMahon is the same person who approved that Piggy James storyline from back in the day because
I know.
apparently him and all the other producers wanted Mickey James to lose weight, so they did that as a way to fuck with her.
I know, but you know what? If I'm Jack Perry, I don't know what his contract situation is since Tony Khan wasn't get personal like that to that level. If my contract is about to expire soon, you know what I'll do? I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving and go somewhere else.
Well, he's been doing Japan stuff the last few months, like since January. But as far as like being on AEW
Okay.
TV
Okay.
or possibly like in another promotion in the states, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't know his contract situations, but I'm just saying, like, if it was expiring soon, since you're gonna be petty like that, you know what? I'm leaving. Since you're gonna, try to get at me like that for something that I get it. I know like I should not have done that, but bro, you're gonna just have me off of TV for so many months and all that stuff. Come on, man.
Yeah, just some petty ass shit. And yeah, like as an owner, yeah, that's not a good look. If he's not gonna use him, he should just let him go. If he's not gonna, because he
Yeah.
let Punk go, and Punk is far more valuable money wise than Jack Perry is.
True though, but still, but like the bottom line is he moved on. And he dealt with the consequences. He got let go and he moved on to somewhere else. So if you're gonna be like that, right, you should just lay down a hammer on Jack Perry then. So come on.
Yeah, it is what it is, though. But let's send our best wishes to Raquel Rodriguez as she was recently pulled from the WWE roster. And
Oh,
it hasn't come out whether or not it has anything to do with the MCAS illness she was dealing with a few months ago. But as of now, she's not on the roster.
regardless, illness or not, Kurt, I am devastated. She is one of my favorite wrestlers on the women's roster. Even when she was on NXT, she was one of my favorites. Man, this is sad to hear. Oh man, oh poor Raquel, man.
Yeah, definitely. I really feel for her. Even when she came back for Elimination Chamber, she still didn't look like she was
Yeah,
100%. And it's looking like there was something to that. And yeah, whatever she's going through, whatever she's dealing with, I really hope she gets back on her feet and gets better. Sincerely hope
man,
that.
I know it's sad, man. I feel bad for her. I wish nothing but the best for her.
She is out for the foreseeable future, and we're not sure exactly when she will be back.
Oh, let's just hope that all is well and she makes a speedy recovery from this, man. Because bro, like I know that what happened to her, that illness took a toll on her, mentally and physically. So
Oh,
I felt
definitely.
really, I felt so bad for her, man, and I was really happy and relieved for her that she was able to, recover. I know she's not 100% yet, but the fact that she was able to get at least close to it, like 80% to it, that was a good feeling for me. So
Yeah, definitely. But
yeah.
hopefully she gets back sooner than later, and hopefully she does recover from all this. Just like I hope all the kids who went through all that trauma and all that sexual abuse from the Nickelodeon days recover from what they went through.
Oh, you saw my post, didn't you? You saw my
Yes,
post.
I saw your post and I also saw bits and pieces of that documentary.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus. As a big fan of Nickelodeon growing up, man, I was just disturbed. I didn't realize Amanda's character from the Amanda Bynes show was Penelope, was it Hines or something like that? Was the last name was like a sexual term or whatever? I did not like what, dude.
And there was that one situation where the kid was talking about how they did like some Fear Factor type shit where they had them like spread
Yeah,
peanut butter all over his body and have like dogs come and lick
I
it.
remember that
My
show.
God.
I at first at one point I did briefly kind of forgot about that show, but when they had brought it up, I was like, oh, I think I was like, okay, I remember this. But when you look back at it, it was kind of like for a kid to go through that. That is a bit like over the top. I mean, it's different when you're an adult and you're doing Fear Factor, but as a kid, it's like, it
Yeah,
was a little bit over the top, man.
yeah, but the thing is, with some of the stories I was seeing on the show, it seemed like a lot of this stuff was happening, like, past my era of Nickelodeon, because I wasn't really into Nickelodeon as much, like, after 98, I would say. Like, after 98, 99, I wasn't really,
Mm,
watching it like that anymore. So yeah, like a lot of these
mm,
stories that were coming out about like Drake and Josh and like the 2000s era of all that, I didn't really recognize any of those kids. Like the only kid I recognized was the girl
yeah.
in the first episode from all that, like from the early years of all that. She was the only one I recognized. They
Okay.
didn't have Keenan and Kel on there. They didn't have Amanda Bynes on there. They didn't have Lori Beth Dimberg on
Right.
there, who was also on the Steve Harvey show.
Right.
I remember her from the Steve Harvey show also.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, because I remember there's an age gap between you and me, and pretty much all that stuff related to me because I watch all of that, and then I think the most disturbing one. I don't know how far you've gotten, but when they talk about Drake Bell, you know, doing the Amanda show, and then post production, not post production, like pre production towards Drake and Josh. the stuff that was going on was, I felt so bad for him, man. It was very disturbing. And again, all of that stuff they were talking about, I grew up watching that, all of that, all those shows. I didn't stop watching Nickelodeon, not probably towards, I'm being honest when I say this, it was like pretty much like end of my freshman year of high school. There was only one show that was on that I liked. I didn't watch nothing else after that, but there was only one show that I was watching. It was pretty funny. But after that, after it ended, that's when I was done. But yeah, all the stuff they were talking about growing up, when I was growing up as a kid, man, it was like, man, I can't believe I'm like hearing this, and it was just disturbing, man.
Yeah, some very ugly shit. I mean, it doesn't surprise me
Yeah,
considering the
Dan
things we've been hearing
Snyder, I
about.
know, Dan Snyder, I mean, I see the name all the time. I like creator of all that and the Amanda Show, and I see that name. So when I heard that name, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that name before. Like he's the brains in operation behind all the most of the popular shows from Nick. You know what I mean? So
I kind of feel like I've seen him in a movie before. I kind of feel like
he was in Good Burger.
he
When I look
was
like they showed a scene, and I was like, oh, he was in Good Burger. I was like, okay.
he was the manager dude, right? He was the manager of the restaurant, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that was him. Ugh.
Yeah, and he he had a couple of segments, scenes, and certain skits on all that as well. So same thing with the Amanda Show. So yeah.
Amanda Bynes is only 3 days younger than me. We have our birthdays are like the same week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're about the same age. Yeah, I remembered it from all that. Like Amanda Bynes, like yeah, towards the end of when I was watching all that, yeah, she was mad funny. I remember she had that like one skit called like "It's Ashley," where like people would like send her letters asking her the most dumbest,
Yeah.
most ridiculous questions, and then she would like just
Yeah.
respond and say, "Oh, I think I know the answer to your question. It's your stinking birthday. How fucking stupid can you be? You're a grown adult. How did you even make it this far not knowing this basic shit?" That shit
You
cracked
see,
me up. That shit used to crack me up.
it did. I'm telling you, she was a top tier talent, man, and it's because of that she got her own show, and her show was just as good. Her show was funny, and I just felt bad for her when she got older, man, because like as she got older and she started to venture out, do some movies here and there. She slowly started to like go downhill personally, man, and I felt bad for her. So
Yeah, kind of like a Lindsay Lohan type situation. Yeah, very similar vibe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just sad, man, because like a lot of these kid actors, they want a break, they want a chance, and then the people giving them chances and giving them opportunities take advantage of them and take advantage of them in ways that are very traumatizing that could take
I
them
know.
years and maybe a lifetime to get over.
Well, guess what? That's funny that you say that because one of the actors from like the second later part of all that, right? I forgot his name. He was black, but he's from New York.
Yeah, I saw his part where like yeah, his mom kept constantly bringing up like the bullshit that was going on in some of the skits they were having him doing and like calling it out. And when he wasn't called back to return to the show, yeah, it devastated him. It kind of, and in a way, kind of felt like maybe his mom was the reason why he wasn't brought back because she kept complaining so much about all that shit. And yeah, it was definitely a heartbreaker for him. And yeah, he kind of also felt like he wasn't so close with that Dan dude. And also, he said his experience on the show kind of shaped the way he looks at racism in entertainment. And like, a lot of the racism in general that he's dealt with throughout life can like be traced back to, yeah, his time on all that.
Dude, and the fact that he got fired, and man, and he's like he saw this opportunity, get his family out of the hood and all that stuff, and
Yeah, it
yeah,
sucks, man.
and yeah, and because of that, he had to take therapy to this day, man, and it's just like, dude,
Bees like that, man. Like traumatizing experiences like that, heartbreaking experiences like that. Yeah, it can take you a long time to recover from that shit.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, some very sad shit, very sick shit. And yeah, a lot of the things that we enjoyed so much, In our childhood, a lot of that shit has been tainted because of some of the people in charge of it, like from the Diddy situation, Vince McMahon situation, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, Russell Simmons also got caught up in this shit too, and now the fucking Nickelodeon behind the scenes motherfuckers.
Mm.
And that Dan dude tried to put up a statement talking about how like he's sorry for what he did and all, and he's also very regretful of all that and everything. Bro, it's like you're not sorry that you did what you did. You're sorry that you're getting exposed for it.
I think the other disturbing thing that he did, there was a lot of like gender discrimination that he did as well towards like was two female writers.
Oh yeah, that shit. How they had them both like sharing a
Yeah,
salary. Yeah, that was some bullshit.
yeah, yep. And threatening one of them to like be like, hey, if you ratted me out or whatever, I'm gonna make sure you never gonna, you know, get a job in Viacom or Paramount and all that stuff. It wasn't pretty, man.
Yeah, talking about sharing salaries. Maybe he should have shared some fucking food every once in a while, and he wouldn't look like the way he does now. All right, but anyway, enough of that. Before we get out of here, let's get into one more thing. I should have mentioned this earlier. It was actually coming out that some of the talent backstage is not happy with the fact that The Rock is getting so much leeway with his promos, and like especially with the ones on social media, he's allowed to curse and allowed to say whatever he wants, but like they have to, follow certain rules and follow certain guidelines. But The Rock is getting special treatment in that regard. And I'll say this much: yes, there's definitely truth to that. That definitely is not fair that that's going down that way. But at the same time, it's the fucking Rock. What the fuck were you expecting him to do? The Rock, you should know, everybody should know this by now, does not play by the same rules as everybody else. Never has.
Right.
As long as he's been a top guy.
Come on, man. Like everybody knows. Come on now. Like I think the ones that are saying it are brand new, probably younger, obviously.
Similar situation with 10 years ago, how the talent was upset that he was back and, taking the main event spot. Yeah, a lot of people were kind of like calling him out for that. So, yeah, kind
Mm.
of a similar situation in that sense. But I will say if they're going to let anybody have like, free range to say what they want, it has to be Cody and Seth because of the fact that they are working with The Rock right now. Because with The Rock
Yeah.
clowning them and embarrassing them with these promos, like the way he has been the last few weeks, they have to be the ones who are able to throw it back at him. Because if they can't, he's going to continue to embarrass them and make them look like clowns.
You got to go back. You got to go back and forth. You can't set boundaries, man. Pretty much that's wrestling promos 101, dude. You can't just constantly let the person just bash you, bash you, bash you. You're not going to say anything. You know what I mean? Not necessarily say anything. It's like how the way you're saying it, what you say is a big difference.
Yeah, like Cody's response on Raw Monday was perfect. That's exactly what he needed to do. He needed to come back swinging. He needed to come back intense and needed to come back saying like, "Yo, you are not fucking with me."
No.
And I like the collar that he had on his dog where it said "The Rock's a cat." Yeah, Rock's a fucking asshole for talking shit about the dog. The dog's cooler than him.
Right.
But yeah, I get it. I get the talent's frustration in that regard. But it's The Rock.
Shouldn't it be frustrated? Period. Come on, everybody knows. Come on, these talent were fans just like everybody else, man. They should know how The Rock goes, man. It's like that's with anybody.
They're probably also still upset about the fact that, he came in and initially tried to take the spot away from Cody. So they're probably still salty about that, which I completely
Well,
understand.
okay, well, dude, it's all part of the story, man. And you got to remember, this goes back to this was kind of like to me, this was like a Plan B situation, last minute situation they had to do because CM Punk got hurt.
But initially they were going to do Rock and Roman until the fan backlash happened. So that's what I'm saying. Like with The Rock, initially he's like implementing himself into the feud that way. They're probably still salty about that because all of us were pissed initially when they were going to go in that direction until they changed it. All of us were pissed.
Well, guess what? With the other talent, that has nothing to do with them because they're not in that spot.
Yeah, but they see Cody working his ass off the whole year and, really building momentum the whole year just to have The Rock, who hasn't wrestled in 11 years, take the spot away from him. Of course they would be pissed off about that too.
I know, of course, too, but like, look, that all changed. Look at now. Look what's been going on now.
Now, but I'm just saying maybe they still have some feelings about that too. And
Okay, well, they need to get over it. I can see if it's still going on now, but it's not. They need to get over it. It's done. This story has just made the business bigger than ever. First time in a long time, and it was all part of the plan of what you got to do. So it's like, stop complaining. You got to trust the process and see what they're doing. So at the end of the day, they're not in that position like Cody and Roman are right now. So like, if you're not in that position right now, just stay in your lane and don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You focus on your own craft and stay in your lane. That's all I have to say.
But not for nothing, I do hope they start to give them more leeway with some of these promos and even the ones on social media. I hope they do allow them to, like, say a lot more edgy shit that they weren't allowed to say previously.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, because it's like, do you feel that this era has really stepped out of the PG era, because like more of the wrestlers now are starting to get more edgy with their promos and not be held back. Well, I can't say this, I can't say that, because I don't want to offend certain people, or I'm afraid if I say this, we're going to lose like sponsorships and all that crap. You know what I mean? That was like the whole point years ago.
Yeah, but it seems like now we're kind of beyond that and we're past that. And I like it. I like the direction everything is heading
Yeah.
in. And if we can get like more edgy promos and more promos where they can take the gloves off, I am all for it. Whether it's The Rock, whether it's Roman, whether
Thank
it's
you.
Cody, Seth
Thank you.
Rollins, anybody on the roster, the more we could see of this
Or even
kind
the
of,
women too. Yeah. Hell
yeah,
yeah.
that too. The more we could see shit like this, the better off we'll be
Thank
as
you.
fans.
Yes.
All right, so bro, anything else you want to get into tonight
No, not at all. I'm
besides your girlfriend?
stop. Whatever. No, I'm yeah, just I'm excited for WrestleMania, and just can't wait, and just more news, more news, more news to come, man. As always.
Yes, and I'm about to go watch AEW Dynamite from Toronto and see Adam Copeland and Christian face each other for the TNT title in an I Quit match.
Ooh. I'm gonna finish watching WrestleMania 10, because think I'm at the ladder match, so I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I love Adam Copeland, aka Edge, but his AEW run so far hasn't really been that memorable. I hate to say it, but
Oh, I know, man. Man.
I think this match tonight will still deliver. But I have to be honest, he doesn't really feel as special as he did in WWE.
Yeah. It's kind of like when Bret Hart went to WCW, right?
Somewhat, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
comparison. Yeah, I'll say that
Yeah.
much. But we are on the road to WrestleMania. WrestleMania is only 2.5 weeks away. Shit is getting popping. Shit is getting lit. And it's only going to get more lit until we get to Philly on April 6th and April 7th. And next week will be a very special episode of Clash of Champions, as it will be our special favorite WrestleMania moments episode. We'll be breaking down our favorite matches from WrestleMania, favorite babyface turns, heel turns, entrances, favorite matches that maybe should have gone on last, our least favorite matches, least favorite shows, you name it. We will be talking about all of it next week on Clash of Champions.
All of it.
So tune into next week's show and the shows beyond. And until next time, for John Randall, this is Conscious Kurt with another edition of the Clash of Champions. Take care, enjoy the rest of your week, and remember, don't be an asshole in real life or social media, because that shit is for the
It's
birds.
for the
Have
birds.
a good one, guys.